Okay, so we're in the dark room getting our bucket of photo emulsion, checking the dates to make sure it's still fresh. We're going to coat our silk screen now. Grab the scoop coater that says green screens and set it down in front of the bucket. Make sure it's not hanging off of the table. With gloves on, struggle to open the lid of the photo emulsion. Grab a stir stick and then stir 30, maybe 50 times. I'm going to skip ahead here. This stuff is really goopy, so be careful where you swing that stick. Wipe all the excess off, or as much as you can, on the edge of the bucket. Lean it on the newspaper. So now, very carefully, very slowly, lean the bucket over top of your scoop coater. This is real-time speed. You can go slower if you want. I suggest you don't go any faster. You're going to fill the trough to about 2/3, maybe 3/4 full. You don't want it less. You don't really want it more. Most of this is going to go back into the bucket once you're done coating your screen. I've leaned my bucket up on its own lid just so that gravity keeps those extra drips in the bucket. Here's what my scoop coater looks like when it's ready to go. Don't worry about those bubbles. They're not going to cause you any sort of trouble. So now you take your screen with the paper side facing you and set it down on the stand. And then kneeling in front of your screen, I want to go about 1 inch in from each side and 1 inch up from the bottom. And I lean my scoop coater against the screen, pushing it tight, but not too tight. And once it hits the edge of the mesh, then I lift it all the way up top in one fluid motion. You can see that I have stopped short of hitting the very top, and I've got more or less an equal amount of open mesh on all 4 sides. I'm using a spatula to wipe away any drips. Here's probably the hardest part, and that is putting most of that, probably 95% of the emulsion that was in that coater, back into the bucket. The key here is to just go slow and make sure you're watching that bucket and watching that scoop coater and keeping the scoop coater centered over the bucket. And then pull down on your spatula and get as much as you can back into the bucket. And like I said, you should be able to get about 95%, maybe a little bit more, back into the bucket. That can be used for the next person. And this stuff will last about 6 weeks. So here's my scoop coater in its emptied out state. It's not clean, that's for sure, but it is as clean as it's going to be before we take it on into the sink in the main dark room to clean it. I'm going to give you a better look at it now. So out into the main dark room, right to the sink. Very careful not to bang the coater against the sink edge or anything like that, and wash it with a sponge and warm water. I can go back into the little dark room now and take my screen, and if I really want to use it soon, in as little as an hour, in front of the fan, and it's ready to go. If I don't need it right away, I can stick it into the cabinet, turn off the lights, and I'm done.